So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now. The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver. Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally. If you want to feel and look your best, you need to check out Pure Health Research. They have 45 premium health supplements that are designed to help you with everyday health goals. Whether it's boosting your energy or trimming belly fat, supporting healthy blood sugar, pumping your testosterone up, or even reducing swelling in your legs, Pure Health Research Supplement Store has you covered. Each formula is crafted with natural, non-GMO ingredients, backed by clinical research and manufactured right here in the USA. And here's the best part. Pure Health Research is offering you an exclusive 35% discount. Just go to purehealthresearch.com and use promo code Lindell at checkout. With their 365-day money-back guarantee, there's nothing to lose. So head over to purehealthresearch.com now, explore their 45 amazing supplements, and save 35% before this deal ends with promo code Lindell. swollen limbs, joint pain, inflammation, skin aging, and cognitive decline. These are just a few of the awful side effects that you can experience due to poor blood circulation. And popping ibuprofen is not a solution to the pain. It's only temporary relief, and it's only masking the true problem, which is inflammation. Researchers are saying to add this Antarctic super nutrient to your diet. I'm talking about omega-3 fatty acids, but not just any form of omegas. These particular omega-3 fatty acids are sourced from wild-caught krill. Has been shown to support healthy blood pressure, circulation, brain health, as well as reduce inflammation, swelling, and joint pain. For a limited time, you can grab Native Path Antarctic Krill Oil for up to 66% off plus free shipping. Just go to getkrill.com/Lindell right now to get your special offer. With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off, site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast, straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20 for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell. Promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
I'm pointing to Mike Lindell. That man suffered. That man suffered. The FBI thugs went up to him and they took away everything he had. He suffered. And Mrs. Lindell.
Then you guys come up and serve me papers in Colorado.
What is this? Sir, what is this?
My pillow guy Mike Lindell says the lawsuit is a sham.
How dare him come and sue my pillow?
They went after him. It was just terrible. This was a vicious weaponization of your government. But he's all, I'll tell you, he stood up. He's all man. He stood up strong.
Do I think you guys and them are a traitor to our country by what you did to my pillow? Yes. We are made in America.
Lindell says he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars.
And nothing was going to faze him. And I want to thank you on behalf of everybody. Like, you put up with a tremendous amount.
How do you guys sleep at night? You obviously don't have a my pillow. That's a fact.
He's a great guy.
Have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Well, I recently saw a video he made and I was shocked. That guy's amazing and he's staying active well into his 80s. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says he still feels like he's in his 50s. His wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Chuck made a very special video that explains everything. Make sure you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/Lindell. It will change the way you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/Lindell. You won't believe how simple it is. To celebrate our newest launch, Rev 7, I'm bringing you an amazing introductory offer, plus an exclusive overstock sale that you're not going to want to miss. Rev 7 is our premium energy drink that tastes great and gives you energy all day with no jitters and no crashes. That's because there's no sugar and no caffeine. I'm so sure you're going to love Rev 7 that for a limited time you can try our 3-pack absolutely free. Or check out our Percale bed sheets. I can't believe I'm even going to say this. Every color, every style, every size, only $29.88. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save 20% on our Rev 7 12-packs or try our introductory 3-pack absolutely free. And our Percale bed sheets, all sizes, only $29.88, even the queens and kings. Inventory is extremely limited, so order now. The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today.
You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for watching LindellTV. This is the Mike Lindell Show. Obviously, I'm not Mike Lindell. The great Mike Lindell is not with us today, but we are here with you, the DC crew, myself, Allison Steinberg, and Kara Castronova. We'll both be recapping the briefing that just took place right here on this very stage behind me. As you can see, Caroline Leavitt just hosted another press briefing, covered a wide range of topics today. She sort of opened the briefing by talking about Witkoff and Huckabee both planning to meet with the Gazans. They are talking about delivering aid and food over there. They're going to write up some sort of deal that they plan to help them, and then that will be approved, and they'll be planning to send aid over to Gazans at this point in time. Of course, another big hot topic today in the press briefing was the trade agreement ongoing. As we know, the August 1st deadline is right around the corner. That will be implemented tonight at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Any country that has not come to the table to make a deal with President Trump will be subjected to the tariffs that President Trump has imposed on them. So that is the case. I'm sorry for all the commotion, guys. I have to tell you, it is insane weather outside. We were planning on doing our hits from outside so you could see the beautiful White House behind us, but we had to rush and quickly move inside because it has just started randomly thundering and pouring rain in this crazy swamp. So a lot of commotion in the briefing room here, but it's okay. Luckily, we found a spot inside here where we can deliver the news. So that is the current weather report for the swamp. Aside from that, Caroline touched on the economic status. She said GDP growth increased in quarter two, 3.0%. That is good news. She said that investments will happen by the end of 2028. All investments regarding the tariffs and trade deals and whatnot are expected to happen by the end of 2028, which is proving the experts wrong. Of course, as we know, on Liberation Day, all of the so-called experts said that we were going to be in a recession by summer. Well, guess what? Now it's summer and still no recession. In fact, there has been incredible return on these tariffs. As of now, since tariffs took effect, there's been $150 billion in revenue, so that is incredible. Just goes to show the art of the deal. All those, so-called experts that warned we were going to be in a recession have been proven wrong, and this is a clear example of that. So I think the wealth and prosperity will continue so long as the trade deals keep coming in. Again, many more set to happen in the next less than 24 hours as that deadline approaches tonight at midnight. We're still waiting to hear from Canada. Mexico, President Trump spoke with the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, earlier today and said they had a very successful conversation. He did announce that they will be extending the tariff deadline specifically for Mexico because that is a more complex situation. So they have had their tariff deadline extended. That is the only country that I know of that has had the tariff deadline extended. So that is a new development there. We also just heard that South Korea came to the table and made a deal with President Trump, so that's another big win. And during the briefing as well, there was some other big news. A couple items here. President Trump is now calling on the CEO of Eli Lilly and Company to extend their most favored nation Medicaid and drug costs for all. Trump is asking them for this because Americans need relief, American families. He's also calling on each of the 17 major pharmaceutical companies to lower the drug costs for Americans. Caroline Leavitt said if they refuse to step up, Trump will deploy every tool in the arsenal to protect American families from abusive drug pricing practices. So Trump sounds like he's ready to go on that. We know this has been a top issue for him for quite some time, getting these pharmaceutical companies to lower the cost of their drugs. He was successful in accomplishing this in his first term. Of course, they got hiked back up under Biden, so President Trump is working to restore lower drug costs for average American citizens. Now, they say the other nations have been freeloading off the U.S. innovation for too long, so that stops now. This commitment is needed by them from September 29th, 2025, so we'll see what happens. It's another deadline for these corporations and pharmaceutical companies to keep in mind. So we'll see if they do step up and start lowering those prices for you. other big announcement today from Caroline Leavitt in the press briefing had to do with some construction that's happening here at the White House. It was announced today that a new White House State Ballroom is going to start being built. This is very exciting because as of now, there's not really much of space to host large parties. I've been in the one space that is pretty much solely designated for that purpose, which is the East Room. It holds about 200 people, I believe, 200 capacity. In the East Room, that's where a lot of these events happen and take place. Again, I've been in there. It is quite small. It's smaller than you would think for the White House, right? You expect everything to be grand and massive and super luxurious. It's not that big. It's quite small. It only holds 200 people. So now, in order to hold a much larger seating capacity of 650, they are increasing the size with this new ballroom that they plan to build. It's going to be 90,000 square feet, and I guess McCrary Architects are going to be heading up this design starting in September of 2025. They're saying that's when construction will begin in the East Wing, and it is expected to be finished well before President Trump's term is complete. So that is very exciting news. We'll be eager to see the construction of that and the completed project, of course. Caroline Leavitt showed some beautiful photos of both the inside and the outside designs that they're planning to follow, so that will be very exciting, and of course is a much better alternative to the tents that they often had to put up out in the back of the White House lawn. That's where larger events would take place, so now they are moving to reconstruct this ballroom in the East Wing, and I think it's going to be a beautiful addition to the White House. They're going to keep with the, of course, historic theme here, and I think it is going to be a lovely addition, so we will stay tuned to see what happens there. I'm just going to check my notes here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Okie dokie. I think that does it for now. I am finished with my debrief of the briefing, but now we have the great Kara Castronova, who is going to recap some more with you. I think she has a guest that she's going to bring on as well. So without further ado, we will go to a quick commercial break, and then we will come right back with Kara Castronova for more on today's White House press briefing. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned.
The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts, and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off, site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast, straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20 for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com Lindell. Promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
Hey everybody, Kara Castronova here in the White House in the briefing room. Carolyn Levitt did a briefing today, and it is pouring rain right now in Washington, D.C., so a little bit of change of scenery here on the stage in the briefing room. But we have a very special guest today on the Mike Lindell Show. Obviously, it's so important for us to continue to talk about election integrity, obviously to solidify the future of our republic. So today we have Patrick Kolbach coming on, and is Patrick there? Hey Patrick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Sounds like you got the weather we had yesterday.
Yes, it's pretty torrential here in D.C. It's strange because they call it the swamp, and I guess with all the rain coming in and out, maybe that's not so far from the truth. But I know that you're an expert on election integrity, and I wanted you to be able to introduce yourself to the audience, tell us a little bit about yourself and your expertise.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm CEO of Lindell Management, so I'm helping out Mike on a regular basis with investigating all the issues around our elections, not just here in Michigan where I'm based, but also all across the country. And as part of that effort, one of the things I do is keep Mike briefed on news all across the country, particularly around him, but also around developments around election integrity all across the country. And I'll tell you, I know you got storm clouds in D.C. there, but it's cleared up for Mike for the first time in a long time. For about the past week, all I've seen is positive news stories on Mike. And I don't remember when the last time I ever saw that was, because I wasn't with him back when everybody loved him when he was putting out the book, What Are the Odds? But ever since he started talking about election integrity, all he's been attacked after attack after attack. And now he's just getting good news. So, part of the weather is actually changing for the good, Kara. So you may not be experiencing the best of weather right there, but I know Mike is now finally in the media getting some good news for a change.
It's true, and I've experienced it really in real time, obviously starting with President Trump's reelection and really watching the redemptive arc of the president. But then, I had a little bit of worry for Mike Lindell and people like Rudy Giuliani because they really got thrown under the bus, obviously, by the deep state, and they died on a hill. But just to watch them both kind of making these great comebacks and experience it in real time as part of the team has been really, I don't know if magical is the right word, but something I think 2 years ago, we were all in this desperate place when Biden was in office. A lot of people, including yourself, I'm sure, believe that he was not really elected to be the president. So all of us were in this really dark place, and just to watch it, like I said, in real time, all these good things happening, especially for Mike Lindell, because he did really, really fight. And like President Trump said, it's one of my favorite things he said about Mike Lindell is that he's all man, which is true. He's all man. Like when you're a man, or you're a real woman for that matter, you die on a cross. You don't give up for what you believe in. You don't succumb to anything. And that's really what Mike Lindell did for election integrity. I know, is there anything new on the front with election integrity? I know that there's a lot of closed door meetings happening here in Washington, D.C. right now. Obviously, it's on the agenda of the president. He's signed some pretty powerful executive orders regarding election integrity. It's something really important to him. Is there anything right now on the horizon that we should be looking at when it comes to election integrity?
Well, absolutely. First of all, President Trump, kudos to him and his team that he's put together in the administration. Since day one, he's been issuing executive orders that have helped the cause of election integrity. They haven't all had the keywords elections in them, but trust me, for somebody who's been investigating how our country was stolen back in 2020 and how they tried to steal it back in 2016, President Trump is right over the target with his executive actions right now. But a lot of the battles, frankly, right now are happening at the state level. And it's good for the first time in a long time to know that we've got the federal government to serve as a backstop for us. So, for example, I testified before the Michigan House Election Integrity Committee a couple weeks ago, and I provided testimony as to what is going on here in the state of Michigan and why our elections are not accurate and are not conducted with integrity, and provided significant amount of evidence in support of that. It was well received by the folks who heard it, except for, of course, Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, because the end of the briefing essentially provided a report card, and she's failing on the accuracy and she's failing on the integrity. Matter of fact, our Michigan Secretary of State's been found in violation of the law by 7 different courts. That means that she's been issuing unlawful guidance to our local clerks who assume that everything that she's saying is lawful. And what we're finding out is that no, it's not lawful, and she doesn't care. And if I think there's a clip that I have of you, this is a Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's, I think it's clip number 3 there, and it's her attorney, Heather Meingas, testifying in a lawsuit before the Michigan Court of Appeals in O'Halloran v. Benson. And I'll let you listen to the words she says and then summarize it in a little bit.
A war between the branches, and if there was something telling us to do something, and we thought it was okay, we would probably do it. But if it really came to push, this is, conflicts with the Constitution, or this isn't something that we can really do because we couldn't really control, or it's a bad idea, we might just choose not to do it, right? You could leave that statute sitting there, and we would continue to issue instructions and give guidance, and somebody then would probably sue us.
So let me get you the Cliff Note version. She only follows the laws she agrees with. All the rest of them, she's encouraging folks like you and me to sue her. And this isn't just happening in Michigan, but I mean, that's a pretty blatant example of it in Michigan, where you've got our chief election official in the state, Michigan Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, issuing instructions to clerks that essentially follow her view of how the election should be run instead of what our statutes say. So that's what we're dealing with here. And like I said earlier, thankfully now we have a federal backstop. And we didn't have that before. Before it was all about, trying to do these battles at the individual state. And if you couldn't win at the state level, you felt kind of helpless because you couldn't go to the Biden administration and Merrick Garland to go off and get justice for you. And now we've got some folks that can help out. And I can tell you personally that I've had the opportunity to submit at least 4 separate criminal complaints to friends in the Department of Justice who are acting upon those complaints. And it is encouraging to see. We finally now have an outlet. And I think you're seeing that with some of the tweets, some of the truths that the president's been putting out. I mean, those are pretty bold, truths that the president's putting out, saying that we should be trying Obama for treason, for example. Right. And that deals with, obviously, the big grand conspiracy theory, grand conspiracy, not theory, but grand conspiracy of President Obama trying to take out President Trump. All that stuff's coming out. And now we've got a president who's got his mugshot sitting outside the Oval Office, who's serious about getting to the bottom of this and holding these guys accountable for their violation of law. It's refreshing.
What if, regarding going to President Obama, obviously President Trump made that comment that President Obama should thank me because he might have immunity. So that's, I think, a question a lot of people have, myself included. Would President Obama, if indeed committed this crime, have immunity, and would he be able to use that card if he was indicted?
Well, this is where we get into the actual ruling that was issued, involving President Trump, right? That the president does have immunity, but that immunity is limited to business that is conducted while he is in office. And so if President or former President Obama is engaged in a conspiracy, for example, that is a continuance of a conspiracy that he engaged in while he was in office, but now he's no longer in office and he's continuing in there, I think that opens up the door to a holding him accountable for that. And plus, if he commits any new crimes not in accordance with the duties of president, I mean, he can't go out there and pull a Jesse Smollett on everybody that's out there. He can be held accountable for any new crimes that he commits.
Or he can, I would assume, if Congress asks him to testify and he lies under oath about his wrongdoings or about his alleged wrongdoings, that would be a crime as well, lying to Congress, which
Yep.
I guess he could plead the fifth, but that would be suspicious. So there's so many interesting things. And speaking of immunity, somebody that would not have that would be Hillary Clinton, which is a question I really wanted to get in today, because obviously it came out that her staffer or one of her campaign advisors, I believe, Smith, her last name is, I think it's Julianne Smith, but I might be getting the first name wrong, really cooked up the scam that she signed off on regarding a lot of the stuff having to do with the Russian collusion. And, this was obviously they did this knowing that it was false. And, you're hearing Obama's name and Comey and Brennan. And Hillary a little bit, but not really. Is Hillary Clinton somebody that you think the DOJ might go after, hopefully in the near future?
Well, a lot of folks remember the 2016 campaign season, and a frequent attendee at a lot of the campaign events that I was at had somebody dressed up as Hillary Clinton in an orange jumpsuit. And so we knew she was crooked back then, and now we know she's crooked now. And I think that is somebody that does need to be held accountable for her actions. Everything from the email server, where she was actively sharing confidential information with foreign nationals that are adversaries, China. That is a very, very bad precedent to set. And a lot of other people have been sent to prison for a lot less of an infraction. Right. And for her to get off scot-free would send the wrong message to a lot of people across the country. Right. And once again, our laws are only good if they're enforced. If we're not going to enforce the laws, Congress can take an extended recess and kick back and sip mojitos all day, because they're not doing anything that's any good. You got to sit there and have the law enforcement element. That's what we've been missing, frankly, for about under the Biden administration for sure, and even under the Obama administration.
Well, obviously the Democrats like to say nobody is above the law, and that would include Hillary Clinton. And the person's name was Julianne Smith. And literally, this came out today that she literally cooked up this plan, her aide, regarding the fake Russia collusion claims. And could this Julianne Smith person obviously be investigated and arrested and thrown in jail? Because this is obviously election interference. It's conspiracy. It's, obviously trying to what they call our democracy, like they're trying to shred our democracy, but I say our republic. Could this person, Julianne Smith, be indicted? This person who allegedly cooked up this scheme, brought it to the attention of Hillary Clinton, and this is all documented now in emails that came out today in that intel report.
I'm sure she is on the radar for Attorney General Pam Bondi and her crew. There's no doubt about it, and I'm sure Ms. Smith is trying to find out who had that auto pen control and maybe see if she can put out something and, a little bit retroactive, and see if she can get an immunity signed by Mr. Auto Pen. But so I think all that is on the table for sure. The key is, are we going to follow through on enforcement of our laws? And behind the scenes, I'm seeing evidence. I know everybody's anxious for indictments. I mean, We've been talking about this for years. We want to see, I mean, I was just talking about in the 2016 campaign, we had Hillary Clinton being paraded around in orange jumpsuit. And so we've been looking for this for a long time, but I do appreciate the fact that the administration came in with a Department of Justice that was probably the most corrupt arm of the federal government, based on my experience, and also the FBI, which was compromised as well. And so we've got Attorney General Pam Bondi, we've got Kash Patel that have had to clean out a lot of, let's just say, people that are not honoring their oaths of office, and the fact that President Trump has actually talked about maybe it's time to assign a special prosecutor to investigate the 2020 election means that they're starting to get more and more confident that they've weeded out most of the folks that would just end up leaking or compromising evidence or anything else within those two major agencies.
Well, what could journalists do, like me, or any other independent journalist, or even citizen journalists? They've become so valuable when it comes to filing Freedom of Information Acts. I know this is probably now an ongoing investigation, which is usually something that they use as a excuse not to give you information. I know the Biden administration, every time I filed a FOIA, it's part of an ongoing investigation, even though it probably wasn't. What could we snoop around, like us journalists that actually want to do the investigative work?
Well, first of all, just getting the information out like you're doing right now is key, because think about it. Before we had LindellTV, and we had a censorship apparatus, and this isn't just me saying it as a former Michigan State Senator. This is the U.S. Congress actually came out, the Weaponization of Government Committee came out and put out a report on how the Election Integrity Partnership was actively censoring information. So that information is getting out there. That censorship is out there, and that's where all the fact checkers came out and censored folks like Mike and myself and yourself and Emerald and all the rest of the gang. That's now proven to be fact. They were actively colluding with the federal government and big tech and big media to keep that message out. So the fact that you're on the air, getting this information out and sharing elements of the press briefing that CNN would normally cut away from, that is very, very important. And so that is good. Now, take a step back and look at the big picture. How do you get information around election fraud? Well, first of all, there's open source. So you can go to a website. You can go to see what the Secretary of State is saying the election results were. And then there's a FOIA request that you're talking about, Freedom of Information Act. I've submitted over 150 myself, not just here in Michigan, but with universities and federal authorities across the board. That is one path, and it often, frankly, gets stonewalled, and it can also be a pretty expensive proposition to do as well. But we've got a door open to us in Michigan, and frankly, all the legislatures all across the country have this, as well as our federal representatives. We have the power of the subpoena. And subpoena is a little bit, it's kind of, think of it as a reinforced version of the FOIA request. If they fail to respond to a subpoena, then they can be held in contempt of the legislature and actually put in prison. So this is a serious deal. So what we're finding here in the state of Michigan is that they are actually, they did something remarkable at the beginning of this last legislative session, is that the Speaker of the House, Matt Hall, who's a Republican, made sure in the House rules that the Michigan House Oversight Committee was granted permanent subpoena authority. So the chair of that committee, Representative Jay DeBoer, has taken advantage of that and issued subpoenas. So I already talked to you about our Michigan Secretary of State doesn't really care about the law. She issues unlawful directives like it's going out of style. Well, he asked for a copy of all the training materials that the Secretary of State uses to instruct our local clerks, and which is reasonable because she doesn't care if she follows the law or not. So our Michigan Attorney General is a Democrat, Dana Nessel. She doesn't care if she follows the law either because she hasn't followed up on any of these concerns. So it's up to the legislature now to step up, and they are. And they're actually in a court battle right now that a judge recently ordered into mediation, which I don't understand in this case because you're either providing the materials or you're not. But I want to make sure you encourage all of our legislators, including the folks up in D.C., don't forget about the power of the subpoena. That is a very powerful tool that's available to them. As a former Michigan State Senator, I'm very much aware of that option, and I just encourage our legislators to use that to help with the investigations that are being conducted at the Department of Justice to help prime the pump and get the subpoenas going.
Yeah, of course, especially the rhinos in the party, like they forget that they have the House, and I think it's important before obviously the midterms, hopefully Republicans do keep the House so that they can have that subpoena power, but really now is the time, in my opinion. I know that you have some clips that you wanted to share with us. I believe that there was one, the number 4 clip, Michigan 2020 video blocking election. If you want to tell us about that clip, then we could play that one for the audience.
Oh, that was a good friend of mine, Braden Giacobazzi. Now, you're going to give me a little bit of flashback syndrome here, because I was actually a poll challenger at the TCF Center in Detroit during the 2020 election. So the footage that you're going to be showing, I was actually there. As a matter of fact, at the time he was filming this, I think I was talking to a local news station about what was happening. So I was there when they had the vans pull up at 3:30 in the morning, dropping off ballots without any chain of custody. I was there for the pizza boxes up on the windows. And I'm also, in addition to being a former legislator, I'm a certified Microsoft small business specialist. So I was there to confirm that these machines were indeed connected to the internet at the time when they were tabulating the votes. And that's how I got connected to Mike originally, by the way, because I was vocal talking about what I saw, and all the election officials were swearing that didn't happen. But yeah, if you want to roll the tape, I can kind of walk you through what was happening there.
Not only are they not letting us into the room where we have a legal right to be, they have put cardboard so that we're not even allowed to peek in every window.
Yeah, our Michigan Secretary of State prides herself on transparency, and as you can see there, the only way you get transparency is if you peek through the slits. And so I was, when they locked us out of the TCF Center, I had gone upstairs into our training room. I was training the next batch of poll challengers, telling them here are the types of things that we're seeing out on the floor and that people need to be aware of. And when I tried to come back in, they barred the door. They had security there, and they said, sorry, we've exceeded our COVID limit. Well, they weren't checking people. They checked people in, but they didn't check them out. So they were not controlling the number of people in there. As you can see through that little visor there, it was not an overcrowded situation. It was an extremely large room. What they wanted to do, and here's the inside baseball on what they were doing during that time and why they chose that time to put up the pizza boxes, is that's when they chose to count the military ballots. And they could have counted them all night long. I mean, I was literally there from like 5 o'clock on election day to 5:30, 6 o'clock p.m. the next day. And they had all the military ballots available to count at like midnight through the wee hours of the morning. They didn't want to count them then, and they had poll workers twiddling their thumbs. It wasn't until they put up the pizza boxes that they started counting the military ballots. Now, why is that important? Because when you count the military ballots, the first step of that process is you have to transpose the votes from the format that the military uses to cast the ballots onto a ballot that is compatible with the tabulators. And in other words, if you've got a poll worker that is not being overseen by a poll challenger and they've got Trump derangement syndrome, what do you think are the odds that that little oval that was on the military formatted ballot gets translated into a vote for Donald Trump on the new ballot? Not very good. So they knew what they were doing with the timing. That's the backstory on the pizza boxes. They chose that time to count our military ballots.
Right. And for me, I have some knowledge, actually pretty good knowledge. I actually sued the Board of Elections. I ran for Senate in New York. I wanted to challenge Kirsten Gillibrand, and I ran a primary or tried to get on the ballot through getting petitions, which I got 20,000, total grassroots campaign, wound up getting sued by the Republican Party, who doesn't want anybody ever in office that they can't completely control. They are just an arm of the Democrat Party in New York, unfortunately. And I went to court with them. And, it was really an interesting battle because I saw just how corrupt the Board of Elections is. I'm imagining all states. They are completely lawless. They have really no oversight. As you probably know, there's always a Democrat and a Republican that fill each role, and they're always supposed to be side by side with each other, overseeing each other, but you've never seen a Democrat and a Republican get along better than the two that they assign for each role. It's like they morph into the same person, completely there's no transparency. From what I understand, you could correct me if I'm wrong, the question I have for you is, it's really, first of all, it's hard to get information from them, and from what I understand, after a certain amount of time, they destroy ballots. How long is it before they destroy ballots, and are the 2020 ballots destroyed at this point?
Yeah, they probably are. Under federal law, at least, under Title 52, Section 20701, all election records are mandated to be preserved for a period of not less than 22 months. So obviously we're out of the 22-month time period for 2020 right now. They still may have them, but they have to at least retain them for 2020 for the 22 months. So yeah, not too much chance there, but electronic records tend to stick around quite a bit. And there's a lot of entities that had access to these election records, electronic version of the records that can always be used to kind of corroborate the official story. And unfortunately, as you pointed out, this isn't just this isn't just a Democrat issue with the election fraud. There are Republicans in collusion with Democrats. And matter of fact, to your point around the state, our state elections board, we have 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. During the 2020 election, I brought forward evidence that the election results in Wayne County were never lawfully certified, and I asked for the state board to disregard any paperwork from Wayne County until they could get resolved. And we had one of the Republicans, who was a former state senator like I was, and he abstained from the vote. But the other Republican designee, his name is Aaron Van Langeveld, he actually voted to certify the election, despite concerns with the returns in Wayne County, which, by the way, if you discount them, the results for president flip in the state of Michigan. Trump would have won easily without the vote to Wayne County, because that's where Detroit is located. And so what we found out after the election is that Mr. Langeveld ended up taking a position with the Michigan Attorney General's office, who's a Democrat. So, and we found the same thing happened over on the Senate side. We had one of the leading policy advocates in the Michigan Senate, which was controlled by Republicans during the 2020 election, ended up taking a job with the Michigan Attorney General as well. And actually on the House, the senior legal counsel for the House Republican caucus ended up taking a job with the Democrat mayor of the city of Detroit after the election. So it certainly seems like they tend to cede these positions of authority with friends and family that make sure that the results are in accordance with their liking, if you know what I mean.
Right, and just a thought I always had, and maybe I could pick your brain about it, because I'm always trying to think of ways I could get information, investigate, and prove that there was obviously shenanigans, to say the least, in the 2020 election. And a lot of people, and we weren't allowed to have these discussions, and I still feel it's surreal that I'm literally standing on the briefing room stage in the White House talking about the 2020 election, probably was rigged. We're allowed to say that now, literally in the briefing room. And who would have thought that a year or 2 ago or 3 years ago I could have been thrown in jail? The FBI was at my house after January 6th. So it's really redemptive for me to be able to have free speech in this White House. But I was trying to think the other day. Yeah, that's a good
point. I mean, all the people, we were living in fear. I mean, I actually had 2 special agents from the Attorney General's office visit my home. When I went over to try to oversee the county election results in Wayne County, I had no less than 5 law enforcement officials make sure that me, little old me, by myself, was not able to go in and monitor what was happening with the counting of our votes. I mean, I'm a former Michigan State Senator. I was a certified poll challenger, and they would not allow me to oversee how they were counting the votes. So, yeah, this thuggery has been happening for quite some time. I remember, and you probably remember this too, is that if I was on YouTube and I was talking about the elections, I couldn't say Dominion. I had to say Domino's. I couldn't say ballots. I had to say pizza in order to avoid the censors.
No, I know. I was kicked off Facebook for life and all of these other things. But my question, I guess, was if if the ballots are destroyed and a lot of the evidence, the paper evidence is destroyed because you mentioned the 22 months, there is probably, like my theory always was, and we never got to talk about these things, like the universal mind really never got to publicly discuss this in the public square back in 2020 and 2021. A lot of people say, you have people who literally think COVID was concocted in order to have a mail-in ballot. A lot of people say, no, but they totally recognized what was happening and they realized how fearful they were making the public, and they capitalized out on that. They took advantage of that, meaning the media, meaning, the powers that be, meaning the deep state, really just took advantage of that fear. And they were encouraging these people to mail in the ballots, Is there any electronic email out there or correspondences between, say, Board of Elections or Biden administrators or campaign staff really recognizing that this is a great opportunity? We have the country literally living in terror. This is a great way to have an election that possibly could be the most insecure election, not the most secure, because this has never happened before. There were never mail-in ballots like this of this magnitude. How could you possibly say that was the most safe when it's never happened before? There has to be some communications in my mind, whether it be electronic or whatever, that exists somewhere where these conversations were had. And that was just a thought I had. I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a paper trail in there. We got what I call meddling kids all across the country. And I call them meddling kids harkening back to the old Scooby-Doo cartoon, right? At the end of every one of those episodes, we would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you meddling kids. And notice that Shaggy and crew, they weren't paid to go off and do that. They did it because they were in the wrong place at the right time. Well, there's a lot of people like that all across the country who've done it. Matter of fact, I can tell you for a fact, we've got evidence around how COVID was used to subvert the integrity of the election in the form of an audio transcript of a training session in the city of Detroit. The instructor for the poll workers was telling them that they needed to make sure that their monitor was within 5 feet of a wall, because in the rules that were being deployed by the Secretary of State said that poll challengers couldn't be within 6 feet of a poll worker. And so they were told deliberately to do that so that the poll challengers could not see what they were up to.
Right. And we have to wrap pretty soon, but we would love to have you back on, obviously, anytime, because you're such an expert in this information. Nobody's talking about it. Really quick question before we go, if you could let us know in like 30 seconds or less. Can the feds spring Tina Peters? In witness protection, there was an article, I believe, speculating on this. What's your opinion? Can Tina Peters, who obviously, worked for our network when it was called Freeing Speech, can the feds spring Tina Peters?
Yeah, Harry the Greek out at Naked Truth seems to believe that some of the activities that the Federal Department of Justice have taken recently, which is inquiries into the election of 2020 that Tina was trying to safeguard, indicate that the federal government is going to help convert her into a witness for witness protection. And if so, they could spring her from the federal jail. It wouldn't exonerate her of the charges. She'd still have to go through the appeal. But in the meantime, Tina, who's 69 years old, can get out of prison, which she doesn't belong in there at all. And they can safeguard her from anything bad happening. And so there is potentially a window to put her under witness protection. We know that for a fact that the Department of Justice has issued a statement of interest in Tina Peters' appeal of her sentencing. And so we know the federal government is indeed interested. How that actually turned out, well, I mean, from your lips to God's ears, I hope that Tina Peters is released from jail. I don't care if it's under witness protection. I'd prefer it if it was a complete pardon by Governor Polis out in Colorado.
Well, hopefully they put her under witness protection on a beautiful beach resort somewhere. So we're praying for Tina Peters, Gold Star mom, and obviously Patriot. And we thank you so much for coming on the show today. We hope to have you back soon. Really, really quick, where can we follow you?
Well, you go to electioncrimebureau.com and just keep tuned in to LindellTV. I mean, this is how we get the truth out.
All right. Thank you so much, Patrick Holbeck.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. And stay tuned for Christy Lee's show coming up next.
You ever see this guy with the pillows on Fox? My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. He is the greatest. The My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell. And he's been with us right from the beginning.